So, first deck list of the new format on a snazzy new red Ultra Pro map, which I decided to pick up just before the locals on more of a spur-of-the-moment thing than anything else. So, yeah. And because I'm kind of bland. Needed to change of pace, even though it's just nothing but a red background to this video. So, anyways, yeah, went 3 and 2 with this deck. Overall, I'd say I was pretty content with its performance, despite the whole not having answers to those two particular matchups, but I can't really find too much of a reason to complain, aside from the fact that I feel like Masked Heroes probably would have been the better choice here, but opted to leave them out for today, so, and sort of, I suppose, maybe paid the consequences, but I probably would have ended up going 3-2 even if I had the Masked Heroes, because that's usually what I do now. So, let's just kick the deck list off. Triple Alias, the face of the heroes now until Stratos comes back, and it is coming back. I don't give a shit what anybody says. One of these days, it will return. Then we've got the Triple Bubble Man, once again being incredibly anal about the fact that I've got a rare and 2 supers. I would like to get a super, but the only one that's in Australia, they want like frickin' $20 goddamn for it, despite the fact that it is from a starter deck, which is preposterous. So yeah, Bubble Man in conjunction with Alias makes the Exceed plays. One Ocean, in hindsight, kind of a shithouse choice. It was an additional target for the Rotor and the E-Call, which in theory was kind of nice, but the problem was this didn't really get its effect off that much. I think I ended up getting it off maybe once, but just the lack of Call the Haunted in the deck just sort of really hurt this card's viability. So I think in the future, if I'm ever going to run Ocean, then I need to run Call the Haunted in the deck. Otherwise, I'll probably just run something like either Wild Heart or Heat. So, one Photon Thrasher, just to help the Exceed plays move along. And Random Tech Heroic Challenger Extra Sword. When this is used as an Exceed material, the Exceed monster gains 1,000 extra attack points. So I used this round 4 against Battling Boxer, and got a 3100, what do you call him? 3100 Honor Arc, and absorbed the Lead Yoke, which I thought was funny as all sin. Now, I will temporarily delay this deck list while I plug my camera in, or else it is going to run out of battery power soon. My apologies for this. Should have been a bit more prepared, but whatever. It's only going to take a couple of seconds. Okay, anyways, so basically it jacks up your, any Exceed monster I go into is basically 1,000 points stronger, which is really awesome. The only one it doesn't really work that well with is Excalibur, because if you do have this on Excalibur, sure it goes to 3k, but using its effect will not actually make it 6k. It will actually still go up to 4k, and then once the effect wears off, it will go back down to 2. So it's because of the way that the Excalibur's effect is worded. So it's kind of a shame in that regard, but what can you do? Spells. Triple E-Call, Triple Rotor, and Triple Duality. Pretty much just, yeah, your search pal. Just spam the shit out of these searches. Once again, must be incredibly anal about having the CS Starfoil one. And just, yeah, it annoys the crap out of me. I've been looking for a super rare one for a while. Funnily enough, though, I actually pulled the ultimate rare one out of my Astral Pack today, which was quite awesome. But I threw it straight into the trade binder because I don't need it. I just want a super rare one and I'm happy. Triple Miracle Fusion. Saki top as always. I remember the days when this thing was, when there was so much debate about this card going to 1 or 2 or something like that. I am glad that they never touched it, because it is so powerful in the deck. 2 Gemini Spark. I used this with the Alias. This was actually quite effective at 2. I saw it just enough. I remember, like, back in old days, I used to run 3 of these. But I think because of the mass amount of spells, and the fact that I like to run a whole bunch of traps in my hero builds, I had to cut down to 2 Spark. I couldn't really fit the 3rd one in. But 2 Spark is actually not too bad. Then I have 2 Lance for the protection. One Super Poly now, which I did see a couple of times. It is more of a Saki card sort of now, but it is still quite awesome when you actually get it off. One MST, because I had the Gemini Sparks to sort of suffice. And then the one Raigeki. I actually had a plan when it came to using this in Dark Hole. I will explain that in the side once I get to the side deck. Traps, 2 Hero Blast came in pretty handy. Just get back alias, blow something up. It's kind of awesome. The only problem is because of all the blow up shit, I have terrible matchup against Burning Abyss, which thankfully I didn't go up against. I know there was at least 2 people that had it, and they actually went up against each other in round 3, which was a pretty. It was a friggin' awesome match to witness actually. So double breakthrough skill and double Fiendish Chain. I like the Fiendish Chain as it prevents the opponents from attacking your weaker monsters, i.e. Ocean, because he's only a 15 beat, and if you're gonna leave him there just doing nothing, he's not really gonna last. So to be able to actually protect him from being blown up in battle, it's just really nice to have the Fiendish Chain. 2D Prison, don't think I need to say anything about that. And then these 4 guys, the quartet of Silliest Sin traps. Okay, so extra deck. Opted for the double shining this time around just to increase the number of Xyzs I could run. Overall, it wasn't too bad. I believe I only got as many as 1 out per game. Absolute Zero, funnily enough, was actually the only monster that I felt like I could have done with a 3rd copy of. But that's just because, like most of the fusions I was doing, I only had water attribute monsters to work with. So, and usually that's pretty much the reason why you'd only want to run 2, just in those situations. But the feeling that I had 3 was a bit, that I wanted to have 3 was a bit weird. The Nova Master, which I never saw. Skiridow, Great Tornado, Gaia. I saw Gaia once. Fused it with the extra sword and just sort of sat on that for a little bit until Firehand decided to ruin the party. One Excalibur, which ironically I never actually saw. No, actually I saw it once, but it was hit with a Vanquishing Light, which is the Light Sworn Summon Negator. So he had a hell of a day. Exciton finally got this off. Still lost. It was against a Samurai player. Wiped the board, and then he dropped an Inishi and got around it. Pissed me off so much. Honorak, I dropped this, and I actually dropped this on 3100 twice. Once for protection, and then the other one to steal the lead yoke. So this was freaking awesome. And to go back to Exciton, the prospect of a 2900 board wipe, it is literally just like a Judgment Dragon for the deck. And not just in its ability, but freaking just the sheer power of it. All thanks to that extra sword. Blade Armor Ninja, if you use extra sword, you can potentially generate an OTK, kind of. Because yeah, the extra sword puts this thing up to 32, then swing twice to 64. You only need 1600 more points, and if in the mid to late game, once you've used up a bunch of your monsters, that 16 is easy to come by if you have a miracle. So that was really awesome. Castell, I believe I actually did get this guy on the board with a extra sword. I made a 3k Castell, which was friggin' awesome. Because yeah, I think I remember because I ran into something, and then lanced my Castell to protect it. It was 3000 beat stick, which was friggin' awesome. Abyss Dweller, I did see this once against the Shadow Hero matchup. And then I also saw this against the Shadow Hero matchup because it was at that point in Game 2 where I'd pretty much sorted myself out the win. Although, mind you, it was a bit risky because I ended up I actually got both detaches off. And the first one I got a 1, which halved my own life points, which sucked. But I ended up getting the free pop on the next one, which I believe was a 5 I got. So my luck was sort of half and half there. But I managed to get it off. It's primarily there to just deal with skill drain shenanigans. So, but doing that just sort of ensures a bit of fun aspect to the tournament, because I knew I wasn't going to make it any further than that round, so she's like, fucking do it. Side deck. I teched in the one Doom Calibanite. I only saw this once in an attempt to crash into a Thunder King, because the Thunder King was causing a bit of disruption game too. It was met with a D-Fissure. I mean, D-Present even, which, yeah. 2 additional MSTs. I'd actually love to main deck a second MST, but I just couldn't find the room. Okay, everything is fine. Nothing is ruined. Just about dropped my entire side deck on the floor, which would have required much resorting. 2 Exceeds Encore. I used this against battling boxes as well, because as soon as they got a leg yoke out, they used Tyrant's Tantrum, I think it was. Basically, it trips in a monster, and their monsters are unaffected by any other trap effects. So I'm just like, okay, fine, make leg yoke, I encore it. You cannot do anything. So I just kept running. From there, I just ran over him and took that win there. Dark Hole, which I literally did not side once. I had the plan, basically, start with the Raigeki, and then depending on the matchup, side the Dark Hole in alongside the Raigeki, or just cut the Raigeki out completely. That theory did sort of actually clash with the Floodgate cards that I was running, because if I was going to side these Floodgate cards in, I'd like to at least keep the Raigeki in there, just so that they establish, like, board filled with freaking Burning Abyss shenanigans. I've just flipped this and Raigeki is shit, and you just proceed to cry. So, it was kind of eh. The annoying part was, though, I sided this in against, I think, 4 of my 5 matchups. Actually, no, I think I sided it in every single matchup, did not see them at all. None of them. Light Mirror, I don't think I ever sided this in. Shadow Mirror, I sided this in for the Shadow Hero matchup. And I saw it, but I never flipped it, because I pretty much had a game by the time I saw it. 2 Cursed Seal, in theory it might not have been a bad idea, but it's really only there to deal with the more spell-happy decks, like a Fire Fist spellbooks or anything like that. I didn't see any Fire Fists on my locals, and I didn't get any spellbook plays, so yeah. And then double wiretap on the side. This is shit. Absolute shit in the side. This is going to have to go into the main deck, or else it's not going to do anything. Either that, or I may even have to just go with the Trap Stun. I feel like Trap Stun might actually be more of a viable option, because I'm pretty sure that the guy who won the local, I know who played the final match of the local. One of those players was playing Chainburn. It was disgusting. I was thankful I didn't get drawn up against him, because it would have frickin' pissed me off even further to be frickin' drawn up against him at some point. Like, round 2 was probably my best frickin' shot at getting drawn against him, and I'm so thankful I didn't. I would have rather have been smacked in the face by the Yang Zing than to just get burned to frickin' death, because I hate that deck. If you play it, you're a fucking scrub. But yeah, that's the Elite Beat Hero deck. I'm not too sure, but I think next week's going to be a tag team tournament, which actually kind of sucks, because I don't like tag team matchups at all. I just prefer the single games and whatnot, which means next week is just one less local for me to be participating in before my potential just sort of ditching of the game at the end of the year. I'm actually sort of debating on whether or not I'm going to do that in the end. I know I said that I did a few months back, but see what happens. But yeah, that's probably means there's another couple of freaking weeks before I do another local. Hopefully that's not too much time for me to change my mind and get pissed off with one of the decks that I'm testing, because I am actually working on another Disaster Dragon build, and I'm thinking of taking it to the next local, purely because of its shenanigans it can do with Kawakami or Drago. So that would be this deck list done and dusted. I'm actually not too far away from being able to fight red. I want to grind up to 65, and I've got them around about 61, 62 at the minute. So I will probably spend some time over the next week or so grinding up to that, and if that happens at some point this week, then hooray. But for now, yeah, just don't know what I'm going to do next, so whatever it is, just stay tuned. See you for whatever that is.